The story starts inside a spaceship where a boy named Willie lives with his parents, who are astronauts. Willie claims to be in the ship to help his parents, but at the moment, it's the opposite. The high-tech systems inside the ship are helping him prepare for the day. Willie comes out of his room and begins the day by playing a game called Fresh Rider, but his happiness is short-lived because his mom stops him and tells him that after breakfast, he needs to go to the storeroom to help his father. Willie wants to stay with his mom and help her inside, but she denies him and heads to the lab. There, she uses chemicals to make an antidote because her husband, or Willie's father, got infected by a poisonous plant. Despite his mother denying him entrance to the lab, Willie still sneaks inside and mistakenly comes into contact with the same poisonous plant. As a result, colorful hairs start growing on his body. Willie's mom decides to test the antidote on her son first, and it cures him instantly. After this, Willie takes the antidote to his father, who is preparing breakfast for the family while struggling with the messy hair. Seeing the antidote, his father feels relieved that he will get rid of the messy hair, and one dose removes it completely. The family then sits down for breakfast, and Willie's father reminds them that today is their last day on the ship because their mission will be complete. They have collected samples and photos of creatures from another planet, so everything is ready. Later, while clicking images of the collected samples, Willie's father trusts Willie to complete the rest of the work and heads inside to see his wife. After his father leaves, Willie starts playing a game again. His mom notices her husband coming alone and asks about Willie, but he assures her that Willie is no longer a kid. He is 10 years old and can take care of himself. Suddenly, their ship enters a meteor zone, and Willie's mother tries to protect them from meteoroids with the help of a protective layer, but Willie gets terrified and starts running around. They look for him in the storeroom, but he is not there. Unable to find their child, they communicate with him through an internal communication system. Willie is terrified, but his father assures him that everything is fine and tells him to return to the control room. Willie agrees and decides to head back, but a meteor shatters the protective layer and smashes into the ship. The instant collision activates the internal safety modules, and now all the doors are locked. Seeing the locked doors, the father instructs Willie to hop into a capsule so he can stay safe. Willie goes inside the pod to stay safe, but the collision on the right side makes things start breaking. As a result, the ship's programming system begins saving Willie automatically. After Willie comes out of the ship, it blasts apart. Naturally, Willie feels very sad, but then his mom contacts him and says they are away for a while but will find him soon. She also tells him to follow the ship's instructions. Soon after, the capsule lands on a strange planet full of unusual creatures. A robot named Buck comes to help because it was programmed for this. After scanning Willie, the robot says it will act as his personal survival helper on this planet. It analyzes the atmosphere and finds oxygen, so it unbuckles Willie's seatbelt. However, Willie wants to reach his mom and dad, but the robot explains that it cannot move him directly because the pod is only for emergency landing. So, Willie asks how he will reach his parents. In response, the robot assures him they will find him because when someone is lost during an emergency, probes from Earth start searching for the missing pod. Therefore, Willie will be located soon. The ship's transmitter will keep sending signals, and if any problem happens near their planet, it will transfer proof signals to nearby ships to start the rescue process. Because of this, Willie feels relieved, thinking he will soon return home safely, yet the sadness of leaving his parents behind still weighs on him. Seeing him upset, Buck gives him a discovery kit to cheer him up, and then Buck begins unloading the pod. It turns out the pod is filled with emergency supplies, and they can use these items for survival. Using the gadgets inside, Willie starts having fun. Soon after, he finds a camera inside the discovery kit and begins looking around for creatures. After all, curiosity runs in his blood, and he got it from his parents. When Willie finds a creature, he takes pictures of it, unaware of what is coming next. Suddenly, a monster-like creature bursts out of the surface, breaks their machine, and starts attacking them. So, Willie and Buck run and hide behind a rock, leaving the radio transmitter and backup battery behind. However, Buck is smart enough to understand the situation. He uses his arm extension to grab the transmitter and battery, and once they are retrieved, the other creatures that were sitting like rocks start chasing them one by one. Willie and Buck try to escape, but a monster almost catches Willie. At that moment, Buck turns into a bike and speeds away to save their lives. Thankfully, Buck manages to save Willie. During the escape, Willie drops the backup battery, but they still manage to reach a tunnel safely. However, they leave the rest of the supplies behind. Now they must survive on this planet until a probe finds them, and they are stranded with very little food and limited batteries. Buck transformed back to normal and fixed the radio transmitter inside himself so it could function properly. After that, they left the tunnel and looked around. Willie was ready to continue the mission, thinking that they must survive there, find food, and stay safe until the problem was solved. While looking at the sky, Willie checked the programming system for any issues and then decided to rest. The next morning, Willie tried to take pictures of creatures, but Buck threw one of the creatures away because he did not want it to hurt Willie. Afterward, Willie and Buck began exploring the planet to find a safe place to stay. Along the way, they saw many new creatures and carefully took pictures of them. Eventually, they decided to stay at a place that felt like a jungle on Earth. Although the area looked calm and serene, Buck did not trust it without running utility scans first. He handed a chocolate bar to Willie and began scanning the surroundings for possible threats. However, just then, a cute little creature ran past Willie. Behind it, several monster-like creatures were chasing it for food. Without hesitation, Willie ran with the little creature to save it from the monsters. Meanwhile, Buck arrived to rescue them and used his rope extensions to tangle the chasing creatures, allowing them to escape safely. After scanning the little creature, Buck declared that it was healthy enough to eat. However, Willie did not want to harm the cute creature and instead wanted to pet it. He named the new creature Flash Rider and made it his friend. Flash also seemed happy. Nevertheless, Buck told Willie that if he did not intend to eat it, there was no point in keeping it with them, and so he sent it away safely. Later that night, they rested. Willie looked at the photos of the creatures he had taken earlier. He felt sad that he could not capture a picture of one small creature, but then Buck helped him take photos of an entire family of butterfly-like creatures. As a result, Willie felt very happy and fell asleep while looking at the pictures. Meanwhile, Buck checked his programming system and noticed his battery was at 50%, so he also decided to power down and rest. The next day, they set out to find a new place. On the way, Flash quietly followed them from a distance. Soon, Willie heard a strange sound and went to investigate. He saw a creature that had flipped over and was calling for help from its friends. Shortly after, its friends arrived and helped it stand up so it could walk with them again. By this time, Willie had eaten all the chocolates, and hunger began creeping in. Therefore, Buck broke several fruits from nearby trees and offered them to Willie, but they did not taste good at all. Flash tried to gesture that the fruits were not tasty. Then, Buck picked another fruit, but its juice stuck to the ground unpleasantly. When Willie tried to help, he slipped on a broken branch and fell into a pond. Flash quickly jumped in after him, and they happily reunited. After that, Flash brought Willie some truly tasty fruit, allowing him to eat until he was full. Meanwhile, Buck freed himself from a tree branch and accidentally fell into the same pond. However, Buck was still hesitant to trust Flash, and this made Flash run away again. This clearly upset Willie, who wanted to keep Flash around. Willie realized that no one had come to look for them for many days, but Flash assured him that they would soon reach their planet. After that, they collected sticks to make a base camp. While they were preparing it, Flash was peeping at them from a distance and asked Willie to join him to take pictures of creatures. However, Willie knew Buck would not allow it, so he pretended that he had something urgent to do and quietly sneaked away. Willie and Flash searched for creatures and soon found a beetle. Willie took its picture, but Flash accidentally distracted the beetle, causing it to fall on its face. As a result, its horn broke, and the beetle could not speak anymore. Willie quickly rushed to help. He used his rope to tie the broken horn, and the beetle was finally able to speak again. Because of this, it happily left, while the new friends, Willie and Flash, continued their journey through the amazing landscapes. For the first time since arriving on the planet, Willie was truly enjoying himself. However, he accidentally touched a poisonous flower, and a strange toxin began spreading through his body, turning parts of him into crystal-like formations. Buck struggled to understand the poison and find a cure. Meanwhile, Flash rushed in, found the antidote, and helped Willie survive in this strange world. This moment made Buck trust Flash for the first time, and now Flash could finally join them properly on their journey. The next morning, Flash transformed into an egg as part of metamorphosis, but soon hatched again and happily played with Willie. With Flash's help, they collected photos of many creatures one by one and built a small house to live in, which looked very beautiful. Later, Willie and Buck gathered many fruits for food, colored them, and played with Flash. Everything felt peaceful and joyful, but suddenly dark clouds appeared in the sky, signaling that their calm day might soon face trouble. Willie and Flash hid inside their tiny house, but Flash tried to signal Willie to follow him. Before Willie could fully understand, rain began pouring down, and the nearby plants seemed to curl inward as if taking shelter. Soon, hail started falling, and their base camp began breaking apart. They had to run and hide somewhere else, but the hailstones were extremely heavy. Buck tried his best to protect Willie, but the hailstones were too large. Therefore, he activated a protective sheet to shield Willy, which drained his battery significantly. Even so, he managed to keep them safe through the storm. The next morning, Buck explained that he had to shut down for a while because using so much power had drained his energy. He said he would remain in power-saving mode for some time. Willy became upset and said he could not stay without him. However, Buck gently explained that Flash could take care of Willy and help him continue the mission because Flash understood the planet well, so nothing would go wrong. After saying this, Buck entered sleep mode, and this made Willy feel very sad. Willy and Flash dragged Buck into a tunnel to keep him safe from damage. However, just then, Willy used his gadget and detected an alternate battery nearby. He wanted to bring the battery to revive his friend, but Flash insisted that they should not enter the rock monster's area. Nevertheless, Willy did not listen. As a result, Flash ran ahead of him to face the danger first. Suddenly, a rock monster appeared, and Flash tried to distract it, but he got hurt and fell. Seeing this, Willy quickly rescued Flash and brought him back into the tunnel. Afterward, Willy and Flash headed toward the forest. However, Willy was very tired because he had dragged Flash a long distance. Unfortunately, he accidentally fell into a hole. Inside, he spotted a beetle's horn and used it to call for help. He sat there sadly as the sound attracted many beetles, but only one stayed. It was the same beetle Willy had saved a few days earlier. The beetle helped rescue Flash from the hole, and from that moment on, they became good friends. Later, Willy returned to Buck and said he would stay with Flash to explore the planet while continuing to send signals for help. 10 months later, Flash had grown much bigger, and Willy and Flash raced happily together. They tried to secretly take photos of many creatures, but the creatures kept running away, so they split up to search for them. While following one creature, Willy noticed a falling rock about to crush a small animal. Without hesitation, he used a sticky fruit to stop the rock from falling and saved the creature just in time. As time passed, Willy and Flash continued exploring the planet, learning more about it every day. Later that night, they checked the images they had collected during the day, ate popcorn, and went to sleep. In the middle of the night, Flash woke Willy and pointed toward what looked like a probe in the distance. When Willy used his gadget to confirm it, he was finally relieved to see proof of a probe after 10 long months. However, just as he was about to ask Flash to wake Buck, Flash entered another metamorphosis phase. Now, Willy had to handle everything on his own. When he reached Buck, he realized that Buck's battery had completely drained, and the only solution was to retrieve the battery from the rock monster's area. This time, Willy was prepared and much more knowledgeable about the planet. He called the beetle to accompany him, and soon they arrived at the rock monster's territory. Willy advised the beetle to hide, while he quietly sneaked in and managed to locate the battery. Unfortunately, the battery was stuck in the sand. When he finally pulled it out, a piece of the pod fell onto the ground, and the loud noise woke all the rock monsters. Quickly, Willy used the fire function in his gadget to push the monsters back, and for a moment, it worked. However, the fire ran out, and he found himself surrounded once again. Just then, the beetle appeared to help his friend. Together, they managed to escape from the monsters. But just when they thought they were safe, another monster suddenly appeared and threw them into the air. The battery landed far away, and now Willy had to fight the monster before it could eat him alive. Although Willy tried to fight, he was too small compared to the giant creature. Suddenly, Flash appeared and rescued both Willy and the beetle. Willy then asked Flash to retrieve the battery while he distracted the monsters by taking pictures of them. He successfully lured most of the monsters into crashing into each other. However, one of them spotted Flash and began chasing him. Realizing the danger, Willy quickly used sticky fruits to trap the monster and save Flash. Eventually, they managed to escape safely. Even then, Willy did not forget to take one final picture of the monsters as they watched helplessly. After returning, Willy installed the power battery into Buck's system, and Buck became active again. Willy was overjoyed to see him working. Soon, they received a signal from the probe, informing them that a retrieval pod would arrive in 24 hours to take them home. This news filled Willy with excitement. The next morning, they began collecting items to take back home. However, Flash did not want to leave. He was happy on his planet and hoped to see Willy again someday. Flash chose to stay because he loved his home, which made Willy very sad. Finally, Willy said goodbye to Flash and later reunited with his mom and dad. He told them about his adventures with Flash and the Beatles, explaining how he explored the planet, collected photos, and overcame many dangers. And this is where our story ends.